Inside our home, we spoke our own language, Hazaragi, a dialect of Dari, but as soon as we stepped out of the door, we spoke with a Kabuli accent. Otherwise, people would laugh at us and called us Kholfak Chapat, which is flat noses. Growing up as a Hazara in Kabul, Afghanistan, I learned that as a small child. Almost everybody in my home country belongs to the four ethnic groups: Tajik, Pashtun, Uzbek, Hazara. And my family is Hazara. They called us sons of Genghis Khan because we look a little different with somewhat Asian features. We are a minority in Afghanistan, and because of it, we have endured countless generations of cruelty. We have been enslaved, slaughtered, and forced out of our homes. We who survived are the lucky ones. I was born in Kabul, the capital of Afghanistan, in 1986. At that time, we were under the Russians, and for us Hazaras, life was relatively peaceful. My father had his own store where he sold rice. My brothers, all older than me, helped in this store. We had a car and a driver. Every evening, my dad would bring in bags of money that he had earned in the store that day. And all of us kids would sit there on the floor, surrounded by piles of cash to count the money. That is how I learned how to count. When I was in the first grade, my father had a surgery. I remember visiting him in the hospital. He was lying in the bed, not answering us, and his eyes were closed as well. I was worried for him, but my mother said he would be all right. A few days later, when my sister, my brother, and I went to the mosque as usual, the man at the gate told us that the mosque is closed today because an important person has died. When we got back home, our house was full of men and women, all crying. I couldn't find my mother anywhere. When I found her, she was crying too, but they did not let me stay with her and sent me to another room where my siblings were. Later, a woman came over to tell me that my father had died. I was 5 years old. Just 3 months after my father died, a civil war broke out in Afghanistan. Up till then, the Mujahideen, all pro-Islamic fighters, but from different ethnic groups, had been fighting together against the Russian-backed central government. But when the government fell, nothing was holding the factions together. Sometimes, our neighborhood became a war zone. There were helicopters overhead and men with guns marching in the street. Sometimes the fighting would come right into our street. We slammed our door shut, and the school was closed as well. We huddled together at home, worrying and praying for the day the street would finally be silent. Only when the street was quiet, I would go off to school. When I did go to school, I found a scary-looking man with long, dirty hair, long beards, wearing white robes and holding guns in their hands. They told us we had to go to a different school because they had taken over our school building. Our shop was in the middle of heavy fighting as well, so most days we had to stay closed. A few months later, we opened a small shop in our street. I became the shopkeeper there. Most days, it was only me at the counter running the shop. I was still in the second grade. We were scrambling to earn money in any way we could. My mother had a cow and sold milk and yogurt. My brothers would repair damaged cars, and the driver who had helped my father would take the cars to another province to sell. When the Taliban took control of Kabul, they began targeting us even in our Hazara neighborhood. At nights, the Taliban fighters would climb over the walls into our houses, ask for money, beat our people, and drag them out. They would take even young boys away and drop their corpses in front of their houses the next day. So every night, we had to sleep on the roof of our house. All the roofs were connected, so you could run from one to another and escape that way. So at night, as we lay on the roof, we would hear our neighbors shouting as they were being taken away, and we would wait in fear. My mother wanted us to flee the country for safety. My brother found our neighbors were going to Pakistan, so she suggested we go with them. I was 10, and he was 16. We left Kabul in a van full of people at 3 a.m. When we got to the east gate of Kabul, there were many cars getting ready to go through the checkpoint. The Taliban fighters were walking up and down in the line, peering into every car window, and with their guns drawn to shoot. They noticed my brother looked like a Hazara and asked him to get out of our van. I held onto his hand and got out with him. They noticed that our sleeping bag had the military green color and said, "My brother must be with the army." And they started beating him with a rifle. I was standing beside him, and I couldn't help crying as I felt the blows hitting him. Finally, the Taliban told us to wait there until they returned. But the driver said, "Hey, run over there. I'll pick you on the other side of the checkpoint." The driver started the van and took off. We were afraid the Taliban would shoot us, but we ran as fast as we could without looking back to the other side of the checkpoint. We found our van waiting and got back in. We crossed the border and reached Peshawar, Pakistan. Along with many other children, I got hired as a carpet weaver. Every few months, I would make a trip back to Kabul to bring money to my mother. My brother would tie the money around my ankles so that no one would notice I was carrying it. After 2 years, we moved to the city of Quetta. For the first time in my life, I didn't hear people say bad things about me. In our neighborhood, we were all Hazaras, spoke Hazaragi, and we felt at home. We stayed in Pakistan for 9 years, working and studying. In 2005, when I was 19, we returned back to Kabul and found things had changed. The US had defeated the Taliban and set up a new Afghan government. For the first time, Hazaras were given legal protection and equal rights so that they could get an education and work in professional jobs. I graduated from the university and got hired as an English TV reporter. I got married, bought a house, and got my master's degree. But 9 years later, in 2014, the US troops began to withdraw. As the control returned back to the Afghan government, persecution against Hazaras increased. It became too dangerous to be seen on TV, so I had to quit my TV job. I got a job doing media work for a company that was contracted by the US Defense Department to supply vehicles to Afghan forces. That job made me eligible to apply for an SIV, a special immigrant visa, a visa that is given to Afghans who worked with Americans. I got my SIV in June 2021. On August 15, 2021, Kabul got strangely quiet. People said the Taliban were already in the city. All public transportation vanished. I had 2 kids at school that day, one in the first grade, the other in the kindergarten. People flooded the streets, panicking. I rushed to my kids' school and found it had already been closed. When I got back home, I found them safe because my wife had already gone to get them. I sent them with my wife to her family, and I started moving from one friend's house to another to stay safe. I was a Hazara. I worked with Americans, so now I had a target on my back. I would call anyone who would know how to get out. Someone suggested that we go to the Sirena Hotel. We are foreigners and journalists were staying. So we got a taxi to the hotel. But before we even got out of our car, we were told not to enter because of concerns with security. On 26th August 2021, we got a taxi to the airport. A suicide bomber blew himself up, killing and injuring 200 people. So we had to turn around, go back home. Finally, I gave up on the idea of leaving. Later, we heard there were planes leaving the country from Mazar-e-Sharif, more than 250 miles north of Kabul. So we got our passports, a little cash, and one backpack for all 5 of us and got on a bus to Mazar Sharif. When we arrived there, the Taliban told us the flight had been canceled. So now, we knew they were watching us, and they knew we were trying to leave. 3 days later, we got on another flight. As we buckled into our seats, and the flight was about to take off, the Taliban boarded the plane and started walking up and down the aisles. I could hardly breathe and tried to avoid eye contact with them and stayed silent, praying to be invisible. Finally, the Taliban got off and the plane taxied down the runway. Only when the wheels touched down in Abu Dhabi did I finally allow myself to breathe, escape a hard-won victory tasted sweet. We spent 7 months in a cramped refugee camp in a single room for all 5 of us. We arrived in the US in April 2022. We are now settled in Salem, Oregon, where I work for Salem for Refugees to help other refugees like me to settle in the US. There are a few Hazara families in Salem. We gather together in the park with our families, and our children play together. I look at my own children. I was the same age when I was fleeing for safety from the Taliban and working in a carpet factory in Pakistan to provide for my family. I hope they will never have to fear for their lives, and that they know their rights are equal to anyone else's, and that they can go wherever their hearts lead them. Here, their dreams can take flight. They are our hope, soaring free towards a brighter future.